welcome back everyone, Toy Shiz here, and we are back yet again for another McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse video. Today, because I was lucky enough, I went on Entertainment Earth, I was able to grab the case when it went up for pre-order roughly about, I think almost 3 weeks ago now, so it kind of came rather fast, but this was one of those waves where I wanted too many of the platinums, and I was lucky that the case had all the platinums that I wanted, except for the platinum for Adam Strange, which I ain't complaining about because I don't want the figure, but I definitely wanted good old, standard, normal colors Adam Strange with all his cool accessories in the box, and the best part is that he seemingly matches the artwork on the back of the box. That's always a win-win when we're dealing with McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse. I definitely wanted both versions of the Year 2 Batmans, of which, now that I have them in hand, while they look good from afar in the packaging, I will just tell you now that looks are definitely deceiving. It's kind of a bummer. But the highlights of the wave definitely go to Floyd Lawton's DEADSHOT, both of them. I like them for various reasons. Guess what? We're going to talk about them because you're here watching this video. And because you are here and I love you guys so much, I'm going to do my quick Entertainment Earth spiel, so just bear with me. If you're a fan of DC Multiverse, Entertainment Earth has you covered. Lots of new figures coming in, but unfortunately, wouldn't you know it, the figures we're going to be talking about today are no longer in stock. However, they do come back in stock occasionally, like they just had Year 2 Batman just the other day, so just keep an eye on it, and do keep in mind that if you use my links down in the description below, it will give you an automatic 10% off all in-stock items. The items have to be in stock. They cannot be used for pre-order. If you don't use the link, if you want to use a code, just use code TOYSHIZ. Make it real easy on you. Free shipping on orders over $79, which in this day and age definitely ain't hard to do. Yes, they are kind of sort of being affected by these nonsensical tariff prices at the moment for newer type items, but old stuff, not to worry. So if it's in stock, you won't be affected. Go order something. Treat yourself. You deserve it. Now, maybe you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm not really a McFarlane Toys fan, for which I'll say thank you for being here and watching anyways, but perhaps you're more of a Mafex person, right? Well, I'm happy to say, and I just ordered this about an hour before completing this video, the pre-order is back up for the Mafex Eradicator. I highly recommend these. These are amazing toys. I get the Death of Superman ones and the 90s ones. They're a lot of fun. Yes, it is pricey at $100, but no one else is making them with such spot-on everything. But I highly recommend Mafex's 90s DC Comics figures, just the way I highly recommend Entertainment Earth. Take advantage of my 10% off. Save some money on shipping when you spend over $79. Go over there, click away. I guarantee you'll find something there that you like. But in the meantime, we have some new figures to check out. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a nice hot cup of coffee. This is a look at pretty much the entire wave. Well, the ones that matter anyways. I don't know, Stealth, Adam Strange is like 1 or 2 panels of a comic. This is a look at the brand new McFarlane Toys Collector's Edition line, Batman Year 2, Adam Strange, and DEADSHOT. Here we go. And just before we get started, I just want to say a quick thank you to everyone who continues to watch my DC Multiverse videos. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the comments, all the subscriptions, all the likes and whatnot. And if you're new here, do consider subscribing. We've got old toys, new toys, daily news updates. Guarantee you'll find something here that you like. And with that being said, here's Adam Strange, all out of the packaging. And much like DEADSHOT, I will just say this. The colors are very cool. He's a very standout character. He's very different, but man, oh man, does he fit within the DC universe. And that's why I like him. He's such a deep cut, interesting character. A lot of people are going to go, who is this, really? But he's white, red, and yellow. That's the name of the game here. And I like this faceplate that he has going on. Now, with most McFarlane figures, as we all know, this is going to be a reused body, Flash, right? That one, yeah, everybody knows this by now. If I had one nitpick right off the bat, it's that The backpack, his little Rocketeer jetpack right there, and then the gun and the holster are just very plain. They're almost Playmates toys-ish. Not much going on. There's some sculpted details. I'm glad they're there, but a little bit more huzzah would have been most welcome. At least he does have a trigger finger. More on that with Year 2 Batman in just a few. You can get him kind of looking up off to the side, yada yada. I like the fin that's sculpted onto the helmet. But overall, like I said, a little bit more paint on some of the attachment parts and pieces to him would have gone a long way. He does have faceplates, of which, as usual, that is pure nightmare fuel. You can swap at your leisure. This one actually works really well, as we've seen in comparison to prior McFarlane DC Multiverse figures that use the faceplates. I like this one, even though it's not really something I would gravitate towards immediately. It's more of his Optimus Prime faceplate, and give him a flight stand, get him zooming through outer space. But this one is more of a smiley face, a little bit of a smirk to him, right? And that totally works. I totally dig it from the side profile as well. Not too shabby. And if you wanted to see a comparison between these two, it's a subtle change. Maybe it could have been a little bit different, but the more screaming head, which I think it's a screaming head, maybe he's trying to take a bite out of a sandwich, something like that. It is cool, and it kind of leaves a little bit more to be desired. That's just all I got for you there. But it does make for a screaming, yelling head when going into battle. So in that regards, I definitely like it. And it's definitely different from the other face plates. But tried and true, we'll stick with this one for now. And like I said, you can take the gun out, get the trigger finger going, and he looks pretty stellar. So overall, again, nitpicks here and there, it's a pretty stellar Adam Strange. Moving on to Floyd Lawton's DEADSHOT. This one rocks. Both of them rock. If you were wondering what the Platinum Edition version is supposed to be, not to worry. We'll talk about that in just a second. People at home are probably going, just tell us. With the standard, normal-looking DEADSHOT, we have some yellow hands. We got finger-pointing hands and trigger hands. And yes, I know that DEADSHOT, this version of DEADSHOT, uses guns, of which he doesn't come with any, but you got the trigger fingers to have them. This DEADSHOT's whole shtick is that he has guns as wrist blasters. So you got some mix and match parts and pieces. You could do like fire flamethrowers. That is cool. And they have little paint details, and you can see how they hook onto the wrists. These ones are bullets flying out. This works. I was actually blown away. I was like, oh my God, this is solid, as is the figure. This is a fantastic looking DEADSHOT, and yes, it is reusing the Batman speeding bullets body, but it's been so long, and it really just kind of adds to the costume texture. In hand, I actually don't mind. There's enough new stuff for me to go, fine, I get it. You had to reuse some things, but the colors, the yellows, the reds, everything that is DEADSHOT is presented here beautifully. I love the eyepiece, just the subtle formation of the head. It's going to be the usual McFarlane articulation. There's nothing crazy here. Although the speeding bullets Batman body was one of the best bodies that they've ever made. You got the extra ammo hanging off the sides of his belt down to his yellow and white boots. The paint on the white stripe could have been done a little bit better. It's a little bit lying. It's a little bit kind of crooked, that kind of thing. That could have been just improved upon. And thank God there is yellow on the belt going every which way, as is the little pattern right there on his biceps. Now, here's where I'm going to say, I like this, I love this, but this is where you kind of have to think, well, maybe certain things could actually articulate or rotate. Like, for instance, the gloves, where his wrist gauntlets are with the guns. You can get them into fairly decent positions, we'll say. Fairly decent. But I would have loved if those areas rotated instead of having to rely on the bicep, because it gets it up just a little bit too awkward, a little bit too weird. If I can use this comic book art right here, you can't really achieve this pose in a normal sense. You kind of have to go around it a little bit. Like here, I'll show you. If the gloves rotated, you could get everything kind of underneath his hands instead of having to rely on them off the sides. And I hope that that makes sense. They attach really nicely. They port in, they port out, they stay perfectly. Nothing's falling off. And That actually was really thought out. I love the extra attachments on this guy. It does a great job in bringing a character like DEADSHOT to life. So in that sense, awesome. Well done. Now, for you Platinum Edition collectors out there, the Platinum Edition DEADSHOT is basically just going to have darker colored accessories as opposed to the normal standard lighter color DEADSHOT. So it's not a big difference, but think of it in that sense. Darker colors, darker accessories. But if you are a fan, much as I am, of Justice League Unlimited, well, look no further. That's what this DEADSHOT is from. He's got that color scheme of which, yeah, I had to have him. I got to get all the DCAU callbacks. It's few and far between these days, but I do like the darker colors of this. I think that it works. It could even work as a night-colored kind of DEADSHOT if you wanted to go that route. He's not as bright. He's not as colorful. You can stick this guy with the villains of Gotham City or have him go up against the Justice League or put him in the Secret Six, that kind of thing. But yes, this one was definitely up my alley. And so now with those two figures out of the way, we need to talk about the conundrum that is Year 2 Batman. Of all the years that McFarlane Toys has been making DC Multiverse Batman figures, especially those based off of Todd McFarlane art, I don't know how, at this point, this late in the game, they just cannot seem to tackle the appropriate measures to create a finely tuned action figure. Because Year 2 Batman, if you look at it just as it is, a lot of people will come over, they'll go, wow, what a fantastic looking Batman. Look at that cape, look how dynamic, it's just like the cover. But then, if you're like me, of which we're going to deep dive and really look at things, but you don't have to tell anybody. You just go like this, you go, you know what, I just keep it to myself. You just think I got cool action figures, when in fact, it's totally bizarre, right? With the normal Batman, how many years into this are we? We have gloves that have texture on them, and we have gloves that don't. This is more of a item holding, punching hand scenario, and then we have these weird fingered hands, which at this point, what are we doing here with this? What was the plan? At least it definitely has paint on both the hands. You also get a blade from the Reaper. If you don't know the Year 2 storyline, it's odd. It's definitely an odd story, but at least we get this. And this is a nice little nod to what I'm hoping amounts to the actual Reaper being produced in the DC Multiverse line. We got him in the Mattel line. Hopefully McFarlane can get to him. The stands for this figure are definitely key because the cape is huge and it's very back heavy for this figure. I love the head portrait on this. That is a fantastic looking Batman head portrait, and I love the blue on the ears and the subtle little blue marks on the head. The cape billows out. It's very Year 2 from the covers. That's really what it is. It's that Todd McFarlane artwork. So I'm not complaining about the cape. It's actually black on one side, blue on the other. It's fantastic. I love the cape. Let's just leave the cape alone, but it does make him incredibly back heavy. Now, what really makes this a Year 2 Batman, besides the cape and everything else, is the holster with the gun. You can see the bat emblem underneath. You have the gun of, yes, Batman carries a gun in Year 2, and the gun is removable. Thank God. I think a lot of people just did a sigh of relief on that. No, there aren't any hands in the box to properly hold the gun, of which, yes, Batman needs those hands. You could kind of sort of do it with this one, but it's not designed to do that. It looks weird. Over the years, of all the McFarlane DC Multiverse figures that came with nonsensical trigger finger hands, this is the figure they don't give them to you with. Perhaps Chief Wiggum will let Batman hold the gun sideways because, after all, he is the birthday boy and it does look cool. All that being said, and this is funny too, is that this Batman, the standard version, comes with a brown holster. The brown holster should have gone with the all-blue platinum one because that's the artwork. No, this holster is not coming off anytime soon because the cape is glued down in several spots, and I'm not going to ruin the figure to swap it out. So there's two frustrations right out the box. It's going to be that usual articulation scheme, nothing to write home about. I do like the paint that they've got every which way. It highlights Batman, so this is blue on the black. And again, I like the blue on the other side of the cape. It brings this guy to life. Moving on to the gloves, though, or you can call them gloves, or they just didn't want to do this correctly for whatever reason. Also, the big gray pin right there, which is misaligned in the black. This is what I mean. It looks great from afar, but when you get up close, you go, oh, God, okay. So if they would have just cut the paint at a more of an angle, it would have been better, at least. Just saying, instead, they just gone for the black right up to the other segmented joint and called it a day. The gloves having texture, not texture, choose your own texture adventure. This figure is so flippin' frustrating. It's just like, man, oh man, I hope some of you out there are huge year 2 fans, because yeah, it's just one of those where you're like, I really wish they would have thought this out better. I still can't believe the hands. More on the Reaper blade when we look at the blue Batman, which we'll just do it now. So like I said, you can mimic the cover. You've got the same hands, which sure, but here's the thing. Because of those hands, if you want to hold the blade properly, as the cover suggests, no, he does not come with the correct hands. Once again, he comes with the weird twisty fingers, which just doesn't apply. So that you really have to angle the Reaper's blade, because it's a Platinum Edition, you get more of a shine to the blade, but it's just not something that works in totality of holding the accessories properly. It's just gonna fall every 2 seconds, and that's what I mean. It's the same thing with this gun and this hand. You can put the gun in the holster, but the Platinum Edition with the gray, the blue, that is definitely more year 2 Batman, even though the blue could have been a little bit lighter still, but this does work for me. But I really do love the black paint that they put on the cowl. It brings him to life. All the subtle paint work, the cape, everything. So it's a great looking Batman, but functionally not a good Batman. But to see him next to the Nightfall Batman and then Nightwing, yes, he is the bigger type body Batman. I really wish that they would have just put it on the Nightfall. Just do it on the Nightfall at this point for Batman, because this body just never got updated or changed to then accordingly fit the source material that it's usually primarily based off of. To see the year 2 Batman with Superman, yes, this is going to be taller than most characters, because this was just a large Batman. That's back in the day when McFarlane first started the DC Multiverse. Everything was giant and Superman was always smaller for some reason. To see Adam Strange and Superman together, Adam Strange is a great addition to the DC Multiverse line. Really little to no complaints. He looks great. And then also to see Deadshot with the Nightfall Batman. I wouldn't say Deadshot really goes with the year 2 Batman. He will, but the Nightfall Batman, that buck body just works so much better with a lot of the villains, the characters that Batman really wants to go up against, and that's just the one that I like to portray on my shelf. So that's going to wrap it up for my quick look at 5 of the brand new McFarlane Toys Collector's Edition DC Multiverse figures. Year 2 Batman, Deadshot, and Adam Strange. Year 2 Batman, again, from afar, thumbs up. But when you start deep diving, really talking about him, really looking at the details, no, it's really not a great figure. Deadshot, Adam Strange, fantastic. Great additions to DC Multiverse. Highly recommend those. But as always, you have heard my thoughts, and now I'm curious to know yours. So comment below, let me know. Let's talk everything DC Multiverse. And stay tuned from now until the end of April. There's going to be a lot of DC Multiverse coming. Hopefully they'll talk more about what happened with the Supergirl and the Killing Joke Joker and the truck and all that. Man, oh man, it's a wild, crazy world we're living in. So until the next one, I'll leave you guys with it. Adios.